This book is the prime example that every book has its own timing. You really do not choose the book chooses you, because when you read a book at a particular point of time, your perception of that book definitely changes. Hello and welcome back everyone to Books with Sakshi. I hope you all are doing great and reading amazing books. In today's video, I'm going to talk about this book, The Courage to be Disliked. It's a non-fiction self-help book, and if you have already read this book, do let me know about what you think. But if you are someone who is planning to read this book, then I hope this video will be helpful in deciding whether you want to read this book or not. So before I actually begin with my review and what this book is about, I would like to say that this is also that book which I dropped reading, I think once or twice, before I finally picked it up again and finished it, because I firmly believe that there is a right time for every book. And when I initially picked this up, I read around 40-50 pages, but whatever was written in this book, I was not really feeling aligned with that. I was not really liking it. I don't clearly remember what it was. Maybe it was my mental state at that point, or why I was disagreeing so much with this book, I don't know, but I dropped it once or twice, I guess. Then I recently picked it up again and finished reading it, but not in like one go. I used to read 2 chapters of this book every day in the morning, and it kind of became my ritual to wake up every morning, do my meditation, and then sit with this book and read just 2 chapters from this book. Sometimes I also skipped, but I was definitely looking forward to reading the 2 chapters from this book every morning. So yeah, this became kind of a ritual. So now what this book is about, The Courage to be Disliked, is first of all based on Adlerian psychology, and the whole book just revolves around that. Adlerian psychology mostly focuses on the feelings of inferiority and the desire of being superior among human beings, and this is something that is very deeply explored in this book. But what I really want to start with right now, this book actually neglects what Sigmund Freud used to say about our feelings, about our behaviors. Like, we feel that, for example, if I am having feelings of sadness, or if I am socially withdrawn, it is because of something that happened with me in the past. Sigmund Freud, if something bad happened with us in the past, the person is going to carry that trauma forward, and they are going to behave in a certain way because of that past trauma. So this approach is more deterministic. Like, if we know that this and this has happened, so the person will behave in a certain way in the future. This is a deterministic approach that was given by Freud. But what this book and Adler psychology conveys is that it is not what happens to the person that decides how that person is in today's time, but how we actually perceive that situation, how we actually look at that situation, is what determines how we are going to feel about that. So in simple words, it's not what the trauma does to us, but how we look at the trauma. In simple words, if you are able to understand. And so initially when I said that I dropped this book once or twice, it was because of this only, because I was completely in denial that how can the author say this, and the trauma is for real, what happens definitely shapes us into who we are today. But when I read it this time, I think I was able to see it with a different perspective. I won't say that I would agree with everything that was written in this book, but yes, my perspective definitely changed a little bit, and I started looking at things in a different light, and I was able to understand the point much clearly, I would say. And this book is actually written in a very conversational format between a young between a young person and a philosopher. So this philosopher is actually guiding this young person about the Adlerian psychology, and this young person can be represented as each one of us, because he has all the doubts, all the beliefs that we have in us. He keeps asking the philosopher about this and that, and the philosopher gently guides him about a lot of things. And initially the young person is also very reluctant to believe this, because we all think that whatever happens with us is the reason why we are the way we are. And when that belief is challenged, right now you may be listening to me and thinking that all of this is very nonsense. As if XYZ thing happens to two people, and if both of them are coming out in a different way, so it's not the trauma but their own perception to look at that thing. I definitely understand the personal traits and the backgrounds they were raised in, and there are a lot more factors than just the perception, but I feel that perception also plays a very important role in how we view that situation. Do we view it negatively, do we view it positively? It is very important. And so this is only the beginning of this book, and I think this is where a lot of people might feel resistance, because this is very challenging and very hard to break, because this is like our innate belief which we are born with. And gradually the book proceeds and there are more questions, more revelation. Furthermore, this book talks about interpersonal problems and problems related to superiority complex and some more problems. I think towards the end the stuff got really hard for me as well, because it became a little complex, and it's not that I was not paying attention to it, but I think I really understood this book more than like 70-80%. But towards the end I think the chapters were a bit heavy for me, and so I feel for that reason I really need to go back to this book and read it again. But whatever the author started in the beginning, in the middle, and after that, I was really able to understand, and it really made sense to me. And I think I have also started applying a few things, and I have also noticed the accuracy of a few things, because unless and until you put theory into practice, into application, you're not going to understand anything. I do not read a lot of non-fiction these days, but I read very selectively, and I try that whatever I'm reading I'm able to apply that knowledge. So you really have to read the book, understand it first of all, then question yourself, reflect on whatever you have read, try to answer yourself that whether whatever stuff you have read is really the reality or just some manipulation. And if it's a reality, why were we made to think otherwise? You really need to ask yourself a lot of questions. You have to do a lot of reflection in order to reach a conclusion. You just cannot read anything blindly and believe in because the author said it and it's a bestseller. No, don't do that. I'm also not saying it. Read it, understand it, reflect on whatever you have read, and come to the conclusion on your own. See if whatever is written is true for you or not. So this is, I feel, the best way to read any non-fiction. And about the recommendation part, I would definitely recommend this book because it challenges our beliefs, our thoughts a lot, and I think this is that kind of a book that definitely changes you without forcing you to change. So I think this is that book. So I would definitely recommend this book to everyone who has not read it, but read it slowly, read it at your own pace, reflect on it a lot, and then decide. And this is it for today's book recommendation. If you have read this book, do share your thoughts in the comments below. If you are yet to read it, do let me know when you are done reading this. I'll see you in the upcoming videos. Until next time, take care and keep reading.